Hi, I'm Emily Elias.
And I'm Tom Wiggins, and this is Desert Island Dips, the podcast where we pit condiment against condiment and ask, if you were trapped on a desert island, which 5 dips would you take with you?
And as those sleigh bells indicate, this is a festive episode. So quick recap, in case you missed the episodes or don't feel like reading the selection list on the app you use. Ketchup, mayo, brown sauce, all on the island in the quest to find the top 5 condiments of all time. This episode.
Is it of all time?
Yeah.
Well, then we need to do like catsup and all the ones that have gone out of, that don't exist anymore.
We'll get there.
Never mind. Carry on.
As I was saying, this episode is about the specter at the holiday feast, cranberry sauce. Dun, dun, dun.
I thought there was maybe going to be some sort of song coming there.
No. What's your initial thoughts on the cran?
I like it, but it's so seasonal that it's kind of difficult to form a proper relationship with. Do you know what I mean?
I feel you. I feel like I don't use cranberry sauce properly. This is what I mean by
you
that.
Could use it more often?
No, I feel like when I have a meal,
when you have it,
I have like a Christmas dinner in front of me and I've got a bit of cranberry sauce on it. I'm either eating it so that it's overpowering the turkey that I'm eating and all I am tasting is just like cranberry sauce.
Yeah.
Or I don't taste it at all. Whereas when it's in a Christmas sandwich and there's sort of like a nice thin layer of cranberry spread and I really taste it with every bite, I love it.
I mean, I think possibly my favourite deployment of cranberry sauce is in the festive sandwich.
Oh.
But I mean, I could do a whole podcast series on festive sandwiches.
That's a subgenre to this, but we will get into festive sandwiches later. Have you ever wondered to yourself, how did this combination of cranberries, sugar, and a setting agent
some delicious setting agent
yum, 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 come to be?
And how did it come to be so, like, explicitly tied to Christmas?
Well,
are we going to go into both of those things or just one?
Hopefully. I'll tap dance around the other one.
Okay.
So according to food historian Joyce White, the cranberry wasn't something that the English took to immediately because it looked like bug larvae. And I can understand that because these people are afraid of tomatoes.
Yeah.
So
ketchup reference, good.
Yeah.
I like it.
So
for the long time listeners.
We are 4 episodes deep into this. There's going to be some callbacks. So in the 17th century, it was a very common idea that you would have like a sour fruit sauce served with meat in the UK and I guess all around the Western world. But cranberries are very much North American. And that's what I'm bringing to this podcast.
Oh, so that's why you're doing this episode.
Yes, the North American perspective. Because cranberries really kicked off and became a Thanksgiving staple and then became a Christmas staple after that. Cranberries, thing about cranberries is they only have like a 2-month window where you can get them fresh. And that happens to be during the sort of Thanksgiving time.
Okay.
So the big problem was people started developing this taste for wanting cranberry at their like festive meals, but then that was your entire market, right? You couldn't sell it year round.
It was a marriage of convenience. Sort of.
Yeah, that's why it was kind of tied to Thanksgiving and then tied to Christmas because the berries would still kind of last.
Yeah.
However, that all changed with one lawyer named Marcus L. Urin.
I mean...
Uran? I don't know.
Of all the things I expected to come up in the story of cranberries, a lawyer named Urin was really not high on my list.
Urin? I don't know. Urann.
Uran.
Urin?
Depends what accent you say it in, doesn't it?
I don't know.
Uran?
So Marcus.
Yeah, let's call him Marcus.
Marcus, because it's just...
A lawyer? What's he got to do with this? I mean, you're probably going to tell me.
Like many of us in our 30s, decided it was time to blow up his life. Was not pleased with the progress he was making in the law career. Decided that what he really wanted to do was buy a cranberry bog in Massachusetts.
A cranberry bog?
Bog. Cranberries are...
Is that what they're called?
Yeah, they're grown in marshes.
Are they?
And to harvest them, they flood the marsh so all the berries rise up, and then they go out and they kind of like
nets?
Yeah, bring them in.
Wow. I mean, that's new to me already.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's like a huge part of the advertising campaign that...
This is like when you find out that pineapples don't grow in trees.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's how they're made in bogs.
Yeah.
This is like, I think, all around New England.
Okay.
An area.
It sounds like you just made that up.
Well, no, because I know in Vancouver, there's lots of like cranberry farms there as well.
Okay.
And there's like Ocean Spray, who is like the big sort of like magnet.
Yeah.
They have like lots of different sort of like cranberry bogs around the lower mainland in Vancouver. Yeah. So Marcus buys the bog and he starts this cranberry business. And he's quoted as saying in the Spokane Daily Chronicle, he did it because he felt I could do something for New England. And you know, everything in life is what you do for others. So he was an altruistic.
Yeah, it's a pretty major thing that he did as well.
Yeah. And he created this whole sort of industry. And the thing about him that really stands out is he wasn't just like content on like, I'm going to be a farmer and grow cranberries. He was going to figure out a way to make them last year round. And that canning, my friend. He was the guy who made it popular to can cranberries.
Okay.
Sell them in the stores all year round.
Yeah.
Turn it into a juice.
Okay. Yeah.
And later, his products would then become the Ocean Spray Company.
Oh, no! Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you might not know about the answer to this, but was this the first thing ever to be canned? Surely other things had been canned before now. And it's not like, it doesn't take a genius.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, no offense, Mr. Urine, but like, if you've seen other things getting canned, I don't see why wouldn't they have done that already? Never mind. But
I think the idea was that like, canning is for like other products.
Right,
it doesn't belong for jams and jellies.
Yeah, okay.
But he was kind of the first person to be like, this is ridiculous. Like the same,
come on.
Yeah, like the same as like Hellman being like, why are we selling our mayonnaise in boxes?
Another callback to previous episodes.
Get listening.
Man.
But he was like, no, we got to start canning this thing. And because he was able to can it and then turn it into not just something that was like a cottage industry that people did and only made money like once in a year, he kind of got all these other people, other farmers to work with him and form this sort of like mega farm corporation.
The Cranberry Revolution. Is that what we're calling it?
The Crimson Tide. Now, I found some stats about this. Americans will consume 5 million gallons of cranberry sauce over the Thanksgiving season.
Just over Thanksgiving season.
Yeah, and 200 berries go into making a single can of it.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. How do they fit them all in?
They squash them down pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it's a tradition in the States, particularly that it comes in a can. And that is a discrepancy I learned about between your
culture
and mine. My culture, cranberry sauce comes in a tin can.
Yeah. Well,
Yours,
to pay respect to the thinking of Johnny Urine, or whatever his name was.
We'll call him Marcus.
Marcus, that's it.
Your country, however, believes that it should come in a jar.
Well, yeah. Well, it's a sort of version of the plastic glass debate, isn't it? And not is it a personal thing now, it's different countries on the different sides.
So I emailed Ocean Spray about this.
Of course. Did you ask to speak to Marcus?
Yeah. I said,
is Marcus there? I got a question.
Yeah, I've got a slight question about what you guys are doing.
Sorry, he's dead.
And this lovely woman named Kellyanne emailed me back.
Yeah.
And she said that they sell it both canned and jarred in both markets.
Yeah.
But in the UK, cranberry sauce is more associated with Christmas, and we found that glass jars make more sense for consumers in this market.
Like there's a sort of Christmassy, a sort of quaint Christmassy vibe that a jar gives off that a can doesn't.
See,
I reckon.
I'm probably like now betraying North America because I am with jar people on this. Because
the jar people.
There's an obsession about getting the cranberry out of the can in log form.
What?
Yeah, this is like a legitimate.
What you mean? Like you've got to get it out sort of whole?
Yeah. So like it's like
its jellies.
It shows your skill as a home cook if you can manage to sort of like break the airlock around the jelly and the can and get it out, including ridges, into the bowl while maintaining its log format, and then you put that on the table.
What?
Whereas
there's not a lot to do in Canada, is there?
North America in general. Whereas here, I think it actually genuinely does make sense because you only want a little. You want to like put it back in the fridge, and then you don't need it like hanging out in a bowl. Yeah. And then you've got like a can of cranberry.
You don't want to feel pressured into performing this weird trick of keeping it all intact if you're only going to use a little bit of it.
Do you think basically? Do you not like think that it's kind of like?
Well, it's like no. I that's the kind of thing I would absolutely go for if it was a thing. It's like trying to peel a satsuma without like in one go. Not lots of little bits, taking the whole skin off in one piece.
I think that like there is some sort of like weird like holiday skill to getting it out of the can.
Yeah.
And
well, I haven't tried it, but I don't think it doesn't sound easy.
No, and there's actually great debate over whether you are a log family or a mashed up in a bowl family. and a customer survey of Ocean Spray's customers said that 73% of Americans like their jelly served in the shape of a can, and half of them preferred to have the ridges on the side.
Is this from Ocean Spray?
Yes.
Numbers? This is amazing. This is above and beyond.
Big Cranberry. They like to make their statistics public.
Do you think there has like been sort of conflict, or people have been judged? Like if you were a mashed up family and you went to a intact in a bowl family's house for Thanksgiving, do you think they'd be a bit like, oh, I don't know about this. Should we eat and go?
I have a story about this.
Yeah.
An ex-boyfriend went to
his. This is why his ex.
This is why. I went to his family's house, and I was like, "Oh, I'll do the cranberry sauce." And
oh no, I can see what's coming.
And I skillfully got it into the log format, into the bowl. And then I was like, "Look, I did it!" And he was like, "Oh, great!" And then he took a fork and he like mashed it down, and I was like, "No, that's not the point."
All of the time I spent getting it out.
I could have done that.
Is this log form? Is that widely accepted and used term?
Yes.
Even
in her email, she referred to it as log or jar. Like that is official corporate speak.
That's official Cranberry Ocean Spray lexicon. Wow. This is amazing.
But you know where it doesn't matter if it is in a log?
It bloody does matter.
No, but you know where it doesn't matter if it comes in a log or in a jar?
In your mouth.
Yeah, or on a Christmas sandwich.
Okay, yeah.
Segue! So
one of my favourite things. Do you know what? I am quite anti beginning festive celebrations too early. Like, I really don't like it.
If you hear Christmas music too early, I hate it. If I hear, like, lights going up,
adverts
what are you
trying
to push?
Nonsense, right? But I'm particularly anti-Christmas music going on too early because there's not enough of it that's any good. So you have to really limit the amount of time you're listening to it because otherwise you exhaust it really, really quickly. The only exception to this for me is Christmas sandwiches. Like, I probably wouldn't have one now, but... And by now, I mean when we're recording this, which obviously isn't at the same time as release. It's a little bit before Christmas.
I'm ruining
the illusion. Fourth wall. But like, it's pretty much like, what shall I say? I reckon towards the end of November, definitely by the 1st of December, I am on the Christmas sandwich train. Absolutely, and I will try and eat as many as I can from different places. My friend Bruce reviews them every year on Facebook. Very expertly, and if I'd thought about it, I would have read out a little sentence from his latest one because he's reviewed the Pret one, the first one of the season. But let's talk about Christmas sandwiches because they're amazing.
Okay, so I've been emailing a lot this week, and people have been getting back to me, so God bless their hearts. And if you're thinking, oh, Christmas sandwiches are coming out earlier and earlier, you're right.
Is that true?
Marks and Spencer said this year they released their Christmas sandwich 2 weeks earlier than they usually do.
I think, they were very early. I felt like they were very early this year.
And they expected to sell over 200,000 festive sandwiches in that first week alone.
In the first week alone?
In the first week alone.
And so that's your early adopters.
Yeah.
That's your, people that aren't afraid to get on board.
Last year, they sold 2.7 million festive sandwiches. The most popular day to buy a festive sandwich... Are you ready for this? Friday the 15th of December, the day after the office Christmas party.
Oh, of course, yeah. That's the only way to get yourself through the
day. They
say
it stands out as the nation seeks out a festive hangover cure.
Yeah. It's also the day after my dad's birthday, so that's probably a factor as well.
So you're going to go get yourself a turkey feast on that day?
I would imagine that I will have had one before then, but yeah. That whole kind of branching out the range is becoming quite a big thing now, isn't it? Like, yeah, you've got your turkey feast, but there's lots of other things now. Like, I've just seen that from a place called Pitta Pit. I don't know where this is. Somewhere up north.
Pitta Pit. It's in Canada. It's a Canadian chain.
It's a Canadian thing.
It's a Canadian chain.
They are doing a festive pitta this year.
I love it. Well, so I tried to track down, like, when did the first festive sandwich come out and what was in it? Because I feel like that has got to be, like, a touchstone of, like, British culturalness.
I feel like that's probably true, yeah.
Like, I don't, how do you explain, like, what, like, the sandwich aisle to people who are not from this country? Like,
it is weird, isn't it, when you go abroad and there isn't really that culture doesn't exist.
No, like when I got here and it was like you just have in rows of, like, every grocery store will have a row of pre-packaged sandwiches. Yeah. They are cheap, they are delicious, and they're
really bad for you.
And they're really bad for you, sure.
Which is why they're so great.
But they taste so good.
Yeah.
And it was like, it just blew my mind because, like, in Canada, we have nothing that really compares to having, like, just an aisle dedicated to sandwiches.
Yeah, a lot of European countries, you go in and they've got, like, 3 sandwiches in, like, hidden away somewhere. But there's no kind of specific area that's full of them like there would be here.
So the first packet sandwich that ever existed came out in 1981. It was the salmon and tomato.
It's a strange choice.
And then a prawn and mayonnaise. And this is actually well documented on the television show Back in Time for Dinner, which is on BBC iPlayer. I suggest I suggest you watch it. And it just completely happened by accident. There was some sandwiches left over at the end of the day. Store manager wrapped them up, put them on a counter, and they started selling like hotcakes. So they were like,
hang on a second.
Let's stop selling hotcakes and let's start selling sandwiches. And then by 1987, Marks and Spencer's had 25 sandwich varieties on the shelves. And it just became like a multi-million-pound industry.
1987?
Yeah.
All right.
So
I thought.
Yeah, so since Marks and Spencer's was the, like, early adopter of the sandwich.
Yeah.
Have you
emailed them as well?
Yeah, I emailed them to be like, hey, when did the first Christmas sandwich, like, come on the shelves?
Yeah.
And they couldn't give me a satisfying answer. They said basically they've got, like, sales data that goes back to 2005. So probably when they had, like, a computer, like, switch.
Yeah.
And they don't have any other data, like, that predates that.
That is far too recent, isn't it?
Yeah. And then when you think of, like, what was going on in 2005.
What was going on in 2005?
Stuff?
Let's have a quick look. In 2005, it said Deep Impact is launched, but it doesn't mean the film. It means some sort of spaceship. But which one came first? Hang on, that's after Deep Impact, isn't it? The film.
I have no idea. But yeah, 2005 does not really feel like that long ago. Like, we're dealing with, like, I don't know, 12-year sandwich history. Like, this festive sandwich has got to be older than that.
Absolutely. Pope John Paul II died.
Oh.
Probably because they introduced Christmas sandwiches and he couldn't take it.
So
he died in April, so it would have had nothing to do with it.
So, like, Marks and Spencer's are like, okay, we know that at least 2005, but anecdotal memory from people who are in this country at this time, aka John Lyons, my boyfriend, fiance, Beyonce, your best friend forever, the link to this podcast. He says that he remembers, like, ever since he had money, he could buy.
Hurricane Katrina as well was 2005.
I'm just saying, I think the Christmas sandwich has been around a lot longer than that.
And the trial of Saddam Hussein began in October. Yeah, I feel like it's been a part of my sandwich buying life for, I don't know, most of that. Yeah, I mean, easily since then.
In the quest to nail down the date of the Christmas sandwich,
You went elsewhere?
I went to the top.
Mark.
I went to the British Sandwich and To-Go Foods Association.
That is such a stupid name. To-Go Foods.
Don't slag them off. They are very nice people.
Well, they might be helpful, but they've got a stupid name. To go foods. That used to probably be called. Hang on, what was it again?
The British Sandwich and to go and Food to Go. Oh, I screwed it up.
Well.
The British Sandwich and Food to Go Association.
I mean, it's still not great, but that clearly used to just be called the British Sandwich Association, and then they were like, they started seeing all those sort of pastas and things coming in, and they went, "We've got to change our name."
Well, according to the British Sandwich and Food to Go Association. They looked into this too, and I was like, and they said they couldn't find.
I mean, they can't find. They don't know.
They don't know.
This thinks to me of a establishment cover up of some sort.
Like, who's behind this?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Not, like, it acts like, I know it's not a big deal.
They are ashamed of whoever it was that introduced Christmas sandwiches to this country, and they're covering it up.
I know this is like one of like a super minute like fact. Like, I just wanted one line to say like, oh, and it came on the shelves. And
it's
like,
almost as if.
But it's so weird that nobody in this country would have kept track of when.
Weird is one word. It's almost as if they didn't think it was an important thing when it happened.
It's monsters.
Yeah.
But I think that the best part of a Christmas sandwich is the unexpected hit from the cranberry sauce. Because you get all of these like very sort of like rich meats. You know, you're getting like, usually in a festive sandwich, you're kind of getting like sausage and bacon or sausage and turkey. Like the festive sandwich tends to be the more unhealthier sandwich because it's like heavy loaded with like stuffing.
Well, yeah, that's what they can get quite claggy because of that. So you need that
like zing to cut through, and I like it. Like I really genuinely like cranberry sauce on the sandwich, but I wouldn't grab the cranberry sauce necessarily and put it on my plate at Christmas dinner.
I would have a little bit. Luther Vandross died in 2005 as well. I would have. I think it's important, but if it wasn't there, I wouldn't be like, "Oh, Christmas is ruined." Whereas if there were no Brussels sprouts, that is a very different matter.
I feel like if there was no gravy, I'd be like, Christmas is ruined.
I don't necessarily want Brussels sprouts in the sandwich, although I've never tried it.
Do you not make your own festive holiday sandwich?
Sometimes.
Whoa, that is like one of my family's like favorite traditions to do is with the leftovers. It's like we take some and we make leftover sandwiches, and the others we turn it into leftover curry. My sister has an amazing story. We had back in the late 90s one of those really awesome like sandwich presses that you could get. Like the
toasted ones.
Yeah, like
a Breville.
Okay, yeah, like the little toasted sandwich maker, and you'd have a little clip thing, and you'd click it down, and it would toast the sandwich.
Yeah.
And she got like really ambitious with making a
Christmas toasted sandwich.
A Christmas toasted sandwich. Blimey. And she got she had like, it was stacked high, and so she was really.
Did it have sprouts in it?
Yeah, I think she had everything in it, nice. And so she was reefing on the lid to get it closed and to get that little like click lock.
Yeah.
And she's like really pushing on it. Finally does it. And she's like, "Whew, I did it. That was hard." Like 2 minutes later, all of a sudden, we just hear like pop and a fire because she clicked in the cord from the electric machine into the sandwich maker. That's why it was so hard to close. That's why it was so hard to close. And then she destroyed our sandwich maker, and we didn't. I don't think we got a new one after that.
They're not very expensive, you know.
I got some cranberry news for you.
Okay.
How do you feel about some cranberry
news? Is this like as in brand new news? New.
Neiman Marcus. Are you familiar with Neiman Marcus?
What? No.
So Neiman Marcus is like a giant high-end department store in the States.
Yeah.
They are willing to ship you a full Thanksgiving, but I'll substitute Christmas dinner, for $527 US. And it includes...
Why is it so much?
A $46 jar or can.
Or can.
of cranberry sauce. Isn't that outrageous?
$46.
46 American dollars.
That's quite a lot of money.
That's too much money.
That's like Manuka honey money.
That's insane money. I looked at comparable department stores in the UK. I feel like...
Is this shipping it here?
No, this is like in Los Angeles. This is LA Times. This would be within the States.
What?
Harrods.
Yeah. Do they do similar?
Their brand of cranberry sauce, £5.50.
Wow, that's more like it.
Fortnum & Mason's.
Still a bit much.
Again, £5.50.
Oh,
That is like, if you're shooting for the stars and cranberry sauce, you're still not paying more than a tenner.
No. Well, you're paying about half.
Half of that.
Yeah. I mean, that other one that was 500 and whatever, you're getting a lot of other stuff in that as well.
Oh, sure. But
can you buy it individually?
The itemized cranberry sauce within that like hamper.
And you can buy that on its own?
Yeah, $46.
It's about 40 quid, isn't it?
Not worth the investment for me.
No. And imagine if you were trying to get it out in its log form and you failed. And you'd be like, oh, that was $46 down the drain. Just like this cranberry sauce.
Yeah, and you'd have just like tears of children.
It's like, well, you've not managed to get it out in one piece.
The disapproval from your grandmother, just palpable. She sits across the table judging you.
I still can't get over that whole thing. that it all comes back to me. If we're going to talk about opinions,
yeah.
I mean, what else is there? I mean, I like cranberry sauce, but I think its seasonal restrictions are too restrictive.
Yes,
for me.
I agree.
Like, there's no reason why. I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with turkey.
Like it's that thing. Like logically, like yeah, I could eat.
You could have it.
I could have it in April.
Yeah.
But
it would feel a bit weird.
It would feel weird to me.
But to the same token, I often feel that I like sprouts so much I should eat them more often. But I don't want to take the specialness away from them by eating them more often. Whereas I don't have that connection with cranberry sauce. So I don't feel any desire to eat it all year round. Because I don't really see why. I think
I'm with you, and like I like keeping it as like the special treat of the holiday season for me, and I don't want to become so familiar and accustomed to it that it loses its specialness.
But also because you don't love it so much, you don't feel any desire to do that.
But I think that so
that's good.
But as a condiment, I think that it does fulfill like a really good need in the Christmas feast.
Yeah.
That it does sort of help add like a dimension of like of the sour flavor to your.
It's a fruity zingy time.
It's a treat, yeah. Like it helps break up the meal so that you're not just eating like roasted, fried.
Everything else is quite heavy, isn't it?
Yeah, it does feel like it does lift the meal. And if I was like ranking it on its like suitability as a condiment in general, I give it like a 10. But like suitability of like would I eat it
an all year round condiment?
Yeah, an everydayer.
Much lower.
No.
Yeah, and I mean, let's not forget that on this island we will still want to continue celebrating Christmas, right?
Yeah, and I think
it's just whether it's worth taking up a spot just for that reason alone. And
I'm gonna say right now, I don't think it does. I think this is the first episode where I'm going to like properly nominate that we just don't make it default and we just say cranberry.
Really?
Take a hike.
Well, I disagree. I think everything, when there's a slot, everything should go straight in. So it's on, but it's like mayo. It's going to go straight off again soon.
Okay.
Like, give it its time in the sun, literally.
Give it the holiday season.
Give it.
And when we're back, boom.
We'll tell it. We'll be like, come on, cranberry sauce, make the most of it because it's not going to last long. Like a bit like Christmas, you know. Make the most of your time on the pedestal, as it were. You know, in the limelight.
What a generous gift you're giving cranberry sauce this holiday season.
I mean, I would add an extra point if we were scoring out of points for the whole ritual. So the Canadian ritual around North American, ritual around getting it out in one go. I think that's amazing. I'd like to think there's been serious arguments occur in the festive period because of that.
You cannot find logged cranberry sauce in this country. So if any listeners in North America would like to send us pictures.
No, I don't want a bloody picture. I want a tin can of it so I can try it myself.
If you can, okay, fine. Number one is one of you, please, could send us a tin can. Number two, at your festive meals this holiday season, if you could please tweet us a picture at Desert Island Dip, singular dip, a picture of your cranberry log or bowl.
We need to come up with a hashtag for this, don't we?
Hashtag logging it. Hashtag bowl me over.
That's going to make it harder to find them, but yeah, fair enough. And we will become a social media sensation, and like Twitter will do a moments of us.
And then, extra points, 2 points extra if you get ridges in it.
Right then, cranberry on the island, but only for a short period of time.
Enjoy your Christmas, cranberry.
You're basically going to ignore it, pretend it's not there. We should probably wish a happy Christmas to all the lovely Desert Island Dips listeners.
Happy Christmas, listeners. Thank you for being a part of our lives and giving us something to talk about in front of our families.
Oh, that would be a good Christmas dinner conversation, wouldn't it?
Christmas small talk. What have you been doing with your life this year?
This podcast that we're doing.
Happy Christmas to the Wigginses.
And, well, yeah, okay, thanks for that. I'll pass that on.
Great.
Happy Christmas to the various branches of the Elias family.
Complicated tree.
Let's not get into it now. And happy Christmas to everyone, as we've said. Hope you get all of the condiments that you could possibly want wrapped up underneath the tree this year. Maybe not mayo or cranberry sauce in our cases, but more fancy brown sauces for me, hopefully.
I'm going to leave some condiments out for Santa this year.
That's nice. What would you leave out? What condiment would you leave out for the reindeer to dip their carrots into?
Hummus.
Is that a condiment?
Oh my god.
We haven't got there yet, have we? I think maybe a bit of carrot and cranberry sauce might be quite nice, actually. That's what it is then. Cranberry sauce is a condiment for reindeer. Right then. We've tried to end this 3 times now. Let's actually do it.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.